This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.
Well, one of the greatest rock vocalists of our time joins us in the studio, Myles Kennedy. His new and third solo album is The Art of Letting Go. You can see him live at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park, January 28th. All the info, MylesKennedy.com. Myles, the last time we spoke was actually over a Zoom. 2021, The Ides of March, when that came out. And I have to congratulate you because your Zoom production is, first of all, your mic sounded amazing, but you had the lighting down. And it was like, I did so many Zooms during the pandemic, but you take the cake by far.
Well, thank you.
So thank you for doing that. I see you've been traveling, promoting this. You're doing a promo tour, but I think I saw your Instagram. You were in Paris and Berlin, and talk about the places you've been to, like just yesterday probably. I don't even know.
Yesterday I was in London.
Wow.
Flew in got in last night. No, it's been great. We were in Stockholm as well, and yeah, it's good to do this in person again.
Yes, totally.
I like the Zoom thing, but there's something about humans just like
much better. Yeah, totally.
Much more natural.
How about Paris? I think you were in Paris as well,
yes,
right?
We were in Paris, I think last week. Yeah, Paris was, because they had the Olympics, so it's really cleaned up. It's not that it was, like that big. Before, but it's like, immaculate. You could eat off the ground.
Wow,
it's incredible. And so just walking around and seeing it, it really is arguably, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. So that was quite nice.
The Olympics, as you mentioned, one of your favorite bands, a French band, Gojira.
Yes.
Am I saying that properly?
I think it's Gojira.
Gojira, okay.
Yeah.
But did you watch their performance? Yes. And I mean, can you imagine? I mean, so cool. They're in the front of this castle, right, with this pyrotechnics, and then a ship goes by. Yep. I mean, fantastic, right?
It was amazing. I was so proud of those guys. I'd heard right before they went on. We got a text from someone. They're like, "Oh, I hear Gojira is going to be on in just like 5 minutes," and I'm like, "Oh, no way, really?
Turn on NBC right now."
Yeah. So I was so proud of those guys. They just crushed it. In fact, when I was there, Tim, my manager, and I, we went to that place where they.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we went and took pictures. They were like, "Oh," and Joe was right here. Mari was right here.
Didn't they jail people back during the revolution in that place or something?
I think maybe they did. Yeah.
And then I just showed you the Celine Dion performance on the opening night. That was incredible, right?
Heavy.
Yeah. I mean, that's that song "Hymn à l'amour" evidently is an Edith Piaf song, and it's right up there with the national anthem.
Right.
And to see Celine do that with, the health problem that she's been having lately is just fantastic. This new album, I think you recorded this in Florida with Michael Besget,
yes.
right? Now his nickname is Elvis. Please explain that.
He looks just like Elvis Presley.
Does he really?
King,
He's got
baby.
big sideburns and like.
Well, he lost. I think for a period he had the sideburns. He's always kind of reinventing his look. That's what I like with with Elvis. I don't know what his new looks can be each record. But yeah, he especially. So I started working with him years ago. Like we had a band called the Mayfield Four.
Okay.
And we did a record with remember Peter Collins, the producer.
Yeah.
He produced the record, and that was when he was Elvis was the engineer on that. He was just a kid. He was like 23 years old. So the relationships, stayed for the last few decades, and now he's, producer to a lot of us. Like, he's the guy.
Yeah. This album is a total rocker. I believe there's actually a ballad called Eternal Lullaby. Every other song just completely shreds. Now, when you sit down and write these songs, it's interesting because, whether it be a riff first or a lyrical idea, do you know right away that this is a Myles Kennedy only song, or could it be Slash with Myles and the Conspirators, or could it be an Alter Bridge song? Do you know right away, or does it take a while to form in your mind where that song might end up?
I usually know kind of out of the gate, right? And then sometimes there's the outlier where it's like, this could work in either realm. You brought up Eternal Lullaby. That was a song because it's a ballad, and with Alter Bridge, when we have that spot where we need a ballad, I brought that in actually for Pawns and Kings, but we had other ballads as well. Mark brought in a really good, I don't know if it was a ballad, but it was a slower song, and which felt like that was more appropriate for that record. But I knew Eternal Lullaby was something I wanted to record eventually, so I saved it for this.
The album title, The Art of Letting Go. which is like in life, it's hard to do sometimes. I mean, where'd you come up with this title? Did you just kind of like a new sort of awareness in your life or something, or?
It's something I started working on probably about 6 or 7 years ago, trying to just be more present, living like mindfully, and I was reading a lot of books and just trying to improve my noggin,
Yeah.
And I think that the phrase "the art of letting go" kind of summed up where I'm at, which is just to kind of go with the flow, man. Life's too short to get reactive and stress out about stuff.
And generally things kind of work out, right? Don't they?
Do.
Like 90% of the time,
they do.
You speaking of books, it reminded me, and I have not read the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Have you read that book?
No, but I need to.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's a very popular
Right.
book, and you see people posting online. They're reading the book. You see the book title and everything, but the album title reminded me of that book. And I read something you said recently, something to the effect of, "Your attitude now is gratitude."
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I try to roll. Just be grateful. And it really it's this profound shift when you live life that way and you realize what you've got. Like just this right now, man.
Yeah,
this
totally.
is crazy. I'm here talking with you about these songs I recorded, and someone cares, and so I feel very, very just overwhelmed with this gratitude at this point. How lucky I am.
I think it's a gift generally to be able to make music. You know what I mean? And I think if you adopt that philosophy, it's absolutely a gift that you're able to do this and express yourself that way. And then anything beyond that is gravy.
Gravy.
If you make money, if you get to tour the world like you do, I mean, that's a big, huge bowl of gravy right there.
I take a big heap in every day, and I enjoy it.
I want to play "Say What You Will" from the new album, but first, you guys made a pretty awesome video for this song. Tell us what's going on in the video. You and the guys in the band play various roles. I noticed, including your bass player / manager.
Yeah, Tim. He's the lunch lady.
Yeah. Tell us what's going on in this video.
Yeah, it's basically it's based around this character who played the character is Tim's daughter Mara.
Oh, okay.
And she was perfect when we were both trying to figure out what this video was going to be about, and when we stumbled onto the whole concept, we're like, Mara's the person to play it because she is such a big music fan. Like it's inspiring for me to see her stand side stage during a show with her, rocking
double
out.
horns.
I love it. But yeah, it's the idea that this kid, she's kind of like alienated and doesn't fit in, and kids pick on her, and she's like, I got this idea how I'm gonna kind of show what I can do, which I totally connected with because as a kid I was a late bloomer. Like a real late bloomer. Like I don't think I hit puberty till I was like 17. So like it was so bad when I got off the school bus to go to high school. I think some of the teachers were like, I think you got on the wrong bus. You're supposed to be at the junior high.
Right.
That sort of thing. Like,
right.
Like, but anyways, my where I kind of found my purpose and how to fit in, and my passion was music, and that's what I feel like this video manifests, which is important.
Now the song "Say What You Will," that opening riff. Now I'm not sure if that's a guitar or distorted Fender Rhodes with a flanger on it, but right away that riff just grabs you by the neck, man.
Thank you.
Tell us about that riff. Where did that come from?
Well, I really appreciate that because that was when I was sitting in a hotel room. I was on tour with Alter Bridge last year, and I had my guitar, and I stumbled onto that riff. And to me, it was kind of like a tip of the hat to Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits. It had
Money for Nothing.
Yeah,
kind
it
of
kind of had that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Using not to get all technical, but using some of the same concepts. And so, but I knew when I stumbled onto it, I was like, oh, that's going to be an important one, And when you have those little nuggets, you get kind of precious with them. You're like, oh, I got to make sure the rest of the song is up to par.
Talk about gifts.
Yeah. Because you don't get them. My batting average is like 1 out of 30 I'll keep, and when you get one that you're really excited about, it's 1 in 100. So yeah, that one is something that I was glad the universe dropped into my lap.
I love it. I also read that your intrepid manager, who we were speaking about, Tim, he's also your bass player in your solo band. He has your life planned 5 years in advance.
Pretty much.
So my next question, obviously, does that mean after this solo album, after this cycle, Myles and the Conspirators, Alter Bridge? Are there any plans for any of that to happen in the near future?
I hope so. I hope that we can, get everybody's schedules to,
everyone's
coincide.
busy.
That's
right?
the thing, and that's great if you're a musician, and we've all got these multiple projects. So it's just finding, everybody's lane. And I think that that's for me right now. What I'm really enjoying about this particular record is it's the first time with any of my solo records where there's a clear lane for where I can go out and tour it for the next year, and there's nothing like kind of breathing down like, oh, we got to get this done. So it's exciting because I really do not only love getting to be a three-piece. I like the challenge. I mean, it's a totally different thing when you're singing and playing guitar and there's nobody else, just a rhythm section. And I like that challenge, but also just it's a family. I've Zia and I. So Zia and I, the drummer in the video, like on the record, we've been playing together.
He is a perfect character. What does he play? A principal or a teacher in the video? Oh my God, he's perfect.
He's perfect, and that's Zia in real life. But I've known Zia since when. It's funny. It's a big departure from the Zia I knew when we met when we were kids. So we've been playing together off and on for like nearly 40 years. We were in bands together in school as kids, and but he was he was a good kid, but he was also getting some trouble. So seeing him as the principal is kind of funny.
What was the first song you ever learned on guitar? Note for note, perfectly all the way through.
Oh, all the way through.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough. I think the first one I learned all the way through, including the solo, was "Rock and Roll" by Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Pretty good. How about the first song you ever learned to sing properly, nailed it like all the way through? Cover song.
Rock and Roll.
Oh, okay.
True story.
So you were singing and playing.
Yes, I was. It was for this Battle of the Bands, and I got picked by the band. Everybody would sing one song in this band I was in. We were called Celiacs, and I think we did like Temples of the Syrinx. We did a Foxy Lady or something, or Fire or something by Hendrix. But they were like, oh, why don't you do the Zeppelin song? I was like, okay, but I was terrified of. I'd never performed with a guitar or sung in front of people, especially my peers. But it was a Battle of the Bands, and we opened the show with that song. I was terrified.
Did your drummer get the opening drum thing right?
He did.
Right? And
his name's
it's like a little offbeat. It kicks in at a weird time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a weird. That people always get that wrong, but I think he got it right. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Speaking of guitars, we can now say there is actually a Myles Kennedy signature Paul Reed Smith guitar. Now, those are really sweet guitars. I mean, the first time I saw one, I think it was Carlos Santana, maybe one of his first endorsees or something like that. But talk about that.
Somehow I fooled them into giving me a signature model. I have no idea how that happened. Yeah, it's a massive honor because I remember working at a music store 30 years ago. I was the worst salesman they ever had. Just gotta clear that up right now. But when we'd get those guitars, when they'd come in, I'd just be like, wow, what amazing guitars. If someone would have told me 30 years later that they would, do a signature model for me, I'd mind blown. But yeah, we spent about 2 years putting it together, kind of like during when the world shut down and we were doing a lot of Zoom calls, and I told them what I was hoping to achieve, and they were great.
Oh man! Yeah. So how many are there? Different colors, or because I saw a black one? What are the other colors?
There's black. There's one called Hunter's Green, which is kind of the signature model that was named after it's a long story of my stepdad, and he had this old GMC C10 truck that was that color. So it's kind of a tip of the hat to him. There's a natural, like almost a antique natural. I'm blacking out right now, but and then there's a sunburst, and then there's a white one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Very nice. And for all the info, they can just go to PRS.com or whatever.
That's it.
How about this charity that you are involved with? I'd say, what's the name of your charity?
Future Song Foundation.
Future Song. Talk about that.
Yeah. It's a foundation that my wife and I and some other friends, including my guitar teacher back in the day, we started about 9 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And, we just saw the need in our community. And so I live in Spokane, Washington. Yeah. They cut all the music programs, and music was just kind of getting the raw end of the deal for kids in particular. So we started raising money to make it so that if kid wanted to play an instrument or wanted private instruction or wanted an opportunity to see the symphony, we could help facilitate that. And it's been one of the most rewarding things for me personally, to see how that's impacted the community, a lot of, from what I understand, like a lot of the school district now has like a guitar program because of this, and at me being a guitar player, that was music to my ears. And definitely looking forward to carrying that on. And go to futuresong.org if you want to check it out.
All right, very good. His name is Myles Kennedy. The new and third solo album is The Art of Letting Go. See him live at the Stone Pony in Asbury Park, January 28th. All the info, MylesKennedy.com. Myles, always a pleasure,
Jonathan,
man.
thank you so much.
This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.